I always say that people, like, okay, because normal people, they have a job and they have hobbies and they do this. I don't have any hobbies. I don't have a normal life. I don't have a special life. I just wake up every day and think about music and okay, what should I do today? Should I write this song? Should I practice this? Or what should I do with my day? It's like being a priest. You not only believe in God between like 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. Either you do it or not.
This is Rob Ruckus.
Hey, this is Kate Clover.
Hey guys, it's Nick Collins here from The Effect and Better Strangers.
Hi, my name is Madeline Rose.
Hey, it's Ben McKelvey.
It's Tim Howard here from Mike and the Mechanics.
Hello, I'm Amanda Lehman.
I'm Billy Harvey.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Casey Sampson from the band Twist Stop.
Hey, it's Tony from Fastball.
Hello, everybody. My name is Isaiah Mitchell.
Hey guys, it's Matt here from the White Lakes.
You're listening to Almost Famous Magazine.
Come join us for this interview. Check it out, Almost Famous Magazine.
Welcome back to The Hang, everyone, right here on Almost Famous Magazine. Thank you so much to everyone who watches, subscribes, rings that bell, and shares our channel. It really is appreciated. We bring great guests to you today on regular, and today is no different. I've been looking forward to getting a chance to talk to this gentleman that I'm going to introduce to you for a while, because we've been in the same room often as I photograph one of the bands that he performs with, but we've never had a chance to sit down and just kind of get to know each other. So with me today is Jonas Reingold. He's a master bass player, and if you're in the prog rock world, you know who he is. He's been with the Poodles, the Flower Kings, Opus Atlantica, the Tangent, and he has his own many more. But he has his own group called Karmakanic, who has a new album coming out, and we're going to talk about it today. But he's also been a staple as a bass player in Steve Hackett's band since 2018. That new album, Transmutation, is coming out on March 7th. And in his words, I'm going to quote him here, 100% AI-free, played by real people on real instruments. I'm looking forward to this conversation. Welcome to The Hang, Jonas.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We start these conversations out kind of the same every time we talk to people, because I think it's important that we kind of set the table. Did you find music, or did music find you? And what's kind of your origin story that got you to become a professional musician and build your life around it?
Well, in the 70s, when I was a kid, my parents put me on classical violin. I was 8 years old. I started with that, and I didn't reflect upon music as a profession or anything. That was just something that your parents told you to do. Like going to bed, brush your teeth. Play the violin. All right, okay. So I did that for like 4-5 years. Played in youth orchestras, and that was the start of my musical education, if I put it that way. To play with other people, have a conductor. It was a youth orchestra. It sounded like shit, of course, but we did that, and it was once a week. I had private lessons once a week. I did that for four years approximately, from 8 to 12, and then for Christmas I got an electric guitar, and I just discovered Kiss. And Kiss was a little bit dangerous in the 70s and 80s. They had like makeup. Nobody knew what they were all about. And I really loved that band. And I bought my first record, Love Gun, 1977, and put it on my turntable. And it was like a bit like scary, like, ooh, am I listening to devil's music or what? All that. So that kind of sparkled my true musical interest. And at 12, had my electric guitar, trying to learn the songs from Kiss and those band. Deep Purple was one of my favorites as well. I formed my own band, and that was the true start. 1982, I had my own band. We were a trio. I played guitar and sang. My father drove us around. We played like school balls. Like in the old days, we had something called the school balls. When people got together and danced. So that we did for a few years, and then I started to study music seriously when I was 16. Went to music upper high school, and you choose in Sweden. You choose your profile. So I chose music, studied music, and then 2 more years a private school, and then 4 years in the university, and I got my master's degree in music. So that was the compressed version of my years 8 to 24.
Well, I mean, that's quite the story, because, and my question becomes, your parents forced you into youth orchestra. At what point did you decide that you loved music? Right? Because I mean, as a kid, when our parents make us do things, we don't have the same passion for them. But you had a transformation from being forced to do something to desire to do something. What was that like?
I remember, because about the same time I started with violin. My father, he's a journalist. He was very literally interested. He wrote books and all that. So in my family, reading was important. We had tons. We had like 10,000 books in the library at home in my house. So that was a big thing. Education, knowledge, and all that. So I remember I was about the same age, 8 years old, and he put like headphones on me and played me Beethoven's Symphony Number 5. That part, and I guess that was my first love to music, because I got so into it. It really hit me on all levels, because I kind of understood, not mentally, it's more from an emotional perspective, that this is great music. It's well written, it has a purpose, and it connects with me somehow. So that was my first connection with music, I would say, and my first love. So I will never forget that moment. And of course, I had many more of those further on in my life, but that was the first. And I think that moment probably made the decision for me to stay in music for the rest of my life. And I never looked back. It's funny, I'm 55 years old today, and from that day, I did music. Never changed. Never thought I would get a normal job. No, this is what I do, and I probably will do that all the way till I lay down 6 feet under.
It's amazing to be able to find something in your life to be so passionate about and have an opportunity to pursue just that for your entire life. I mean, you're very fortunate in that respect. Many people, there are a lot of twists and turns, right? You're fortunate in that.
No, but I always say that people, okay, because normal people, they have a job and they have hobbies and they do this. I don't have any hobbies. I don't have a normal life. I don't have a special life. I just wake up every day and think about music. And okay, what should I do today? Should I write this song? Should I practice this? Or what should I do with my day? It's like being a priest. You not only believe in God between like 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. Either you do it or not.
That's a great way of looking at it. You've got to have it. It's a 24/7, 365 kind of thing that embodies your entire life.
Yes.
Right? It's always with you. I do have a kind of a crazy question. You said your first big influence was Kiss, and then you started a band and people danced to it. What was the first style or type of music you were playing that got people up and dancing?
back in those days. My mother has a few tapes that we recorded back in those days, and of course, the quality is questionable, and, but it's fun to listen to because it's like kids having fun playing music. We played a variety of own songs and covers, I would say. I remember we played like status quo covers because they were kind of simple. They have the simple structure. So for a band like us, it was kind of reachable. I couldn't play like Rush back then. Like do a Rush cover. So we did like Kiss, we did like Status Quo, and those kind of bands.
No, yeah. So you ultimately have become pretty well known in the prog rock area, kind of the little prog metal. How did you decide to land there as kind of the main stylists of music that you pursue?
I think it's because I'm so, my interest in music is so big. So I love everything from classical to avant-garde jazz, to heavy metal, to death metal, to pop, to whatever if I can find something good in it, I will listen to it. So I don't have a particular style. So by saying that, I think progressive rock gives me the most opportunity to actually express all those styles into one style. And people in the progressive rock community is kind of open to, like, you write a verse and it's kind of poppy, and then you have an instrumental section that is super sophisticated or developed into something that would never be considered in a pop song. So I think progressive rock has it all to me. It kind of embodies everything that I like. Everything from classical motif to avant-garde to pop to rock, you can do whatever you want, as long as you packaging it into the format of what a progressive rock piece should be all about. Development. You go from one section to another. You borrow a theme from the section before and move on and stuff. It's like classical music in that way. Good progressive rock is.
And I'll be honest with you, till just now and hearing you express it that way, it never dawned on me that that's probably one of the reasons that I really have enjoyed progressive rock over the years, because it's not one style, it's an amalgamation of many different pieces, if you want to say pieces of styles of music brought together. And when you think back to some of the things that Yes and Rush did in the early days, and some of the classical that Genesis had in it, and the ability to take forms that are out there and bring them together in this amalgamation is tremendous. And I think you hit on exactly why I think I love it too. It's almost got a little bit of everything for someone.
Yeah. It's like going to a supermarket, like the big ones. You can find everything. It's like Walmart.
Prog rock is the Walmart of music.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that we get that quote in the description below. So you take this amalgamation of different styles and textures and pieces of music, and you have a new album coming out. Let's talk about that. The album itself has many choices in it. And I'll be honest, I've not heard it yet, right?
Yep.
What are some of the choices that you made on this album so that if someone hasn't heard it, they want to listen to it? What are some of the things going on? Who are some of the musicians you have and some of the motifs that you're hitting on?
If you start with the composition part of the album, I hope that it will come across that I spend a lot of time writing good songs. That's number one, because that's how I start everything. I treat it like a pop song. I write like a verse, a bridge, a chorus, and that becomes the foundation of the song. And then those three parts needs an intro, and those three parts need something that comes after, and there you have the space to elaborate and explore and go a bit outside what you did, but within the context of it has to be coherent, because you cannot just throw yourself out into something completely different, because normally you need time to adjust to a change. So the bridge between those parts will be super important. So that's what I do. That's the start. I try to make the absolutely best music from a constructive perspective, how I construct something. Then I record it as a demo, with me playing all the instruments. I even sing myself and blah blah blah, trying to make an example to the other musicians that I will bring in. And then I have the luxury, because I've worked so many years and recorded so many albums. I think it's between 250 and 300 albums right now, and all the great players that I ran into the 40 years plus that I've been doing music. I have a big list of people that I can call. So I have the luxury to sit here and who would fit playing drums on this tune? I know a guy, Simon Phillips. He's great, like that. And then I call Simon, and he records the song. So I always choose the players to the part that I think they are fitting. I would never just hire a name for the sake of it. It's like in Sweden in the 50s, when all the jazz orchestras were out playing, there was a saying, rent a then I used the N word. That was on the poster, Wow, black musician, whoa, cool. In Sweden, that was kind of exotic, and that's how you sold a live performance back in the days, like we're talking 70 years ago. I would never do that just for the sake of it, to have a name on the album, call somebody. I always call somebody if I think he will contribute or fit the sound I'm after. And that's most important. That's more important than the name. Now it happens to be that way, that Simon Phillips is both famous, played with all the greats, The Who, Purple, and The Who, Toto, Judas Priest, a lot of acts. So he is a famous musician, but most importantly, he's a great musician, and that's why he's playing on. That's why I, approach him. Then his fame is a bonus, of course. Yeah.
Who else do you have that you've called up to put Transmutation together?
Steve Hackett is on this album. John Mitchell, Randy McStein, who plays with Porcupine Tree, and Steven Wilson. So many. Lalle Larsson, good buddy of mine. I have Andy Tillison, the mastermind of The Tangent, another progressive rock band. Many players. I have many players, and I consider it like the Real Madrid of prog. Real Madrid is a famous football team here in Europe. They have the best players, they have the most money, and every single player is on a $1 billion retainer, But they have 20 people, and only 11 people is out on the pitch. So it means that 9 people will be on the bench, and the trainer have the luxury to choose for each and every match the team he thinks fits the game the best. So I see myself like that. I have all those great world-class players, and I can just pick and choose, you know.
That's great. That you're very fortunate to have that. I mean, I'm excited to hear the album. Transmutation. Where did the title come from?
The title is. I've always been a fan of the universe, even from the 70s. I love to read Carl Sagan. We had a Swedish author called Evgen Semichov, a Russian guy that lived in Sweden and wrote a lot of books, and they always reflected upon the universe and all that. Like Carl Sagan, Dot was an inspiration for me, because it was the Voyager 1 that took a picture of the planet, 1977. Like, and it was just a small little speck in the Milky Way, like that, you know, like boom. And that's all we are. That's all it is, and that is all it's ever going to be. This little speck in this vast universe. So, you know, I've always been interested in that. And transmutation, it means change. The undertitle of that track is the constant change of everything, because everything is always in a change. It's the whole state of the universe. Us as human beings are in a flux. We don't know anything about tomorrow. Our body is changing. We're getting older. You know, it's a transformation all the time. Transformation is constant through the circle of life. And I felt like, that's a great theme to write about, you know, how everything is changing all the time. But with change comes also opportunities. It comes opportunity to change to something better. And the state of the planet is not so good, I would say. You know, it's a bit of chaos out there. But we always will have the opportunity to change and go in a certain direction. And I'm just hoping that we choose the right one. And yeah, that's what it's all about.
So with that being kind of the theme of the album, are all of the songs kind of intertwined around that theme, or is it kind of a changes between songs or ideas or running through the album?
That long track that is 23 minutes of this album has that theme, obviously. Some other songs are totally separate, like All That Glitters Is Not Gold is an observation when I went on the subway in New York City. This sounds like a Hollywood story, but it's not. It's actually a day of my life. I was in New York City. I took the subway down from the 42nd Street down to Soho, something like that. And it was in the morning, and I watched all the people coming in and out, and they are super well dressed because they go to Wall Street. I think it was the A train, what they call the A train in the old days. Goes all the way from Harlem down to Soho. And they are super well dressed and ties perfect, and it's $1,000 suit there and this and that. And I was thinking, yeah, everybody looks incredible, but really, is it that amazing? Once you scratch the surface a little bit, you know. And that was when the title "All That Glitter Is Not Gold" came up, and I wrote a whole song about it. You know, like me watching people coming in, somebody has a fight, and this and that, and you know, observation from the subway. So no, to answer your question, every song is not intertwined with each other. It's just separate things. Yeah.
So on the album, for you, is there a standout moment that if someone were to pick it up, because the truth is there are many people nowadays, they listen on shuffle. They don't listen, you know, front to back the way we used to when we had vinyl. if someone was going to put a needle down or start somewhere, and you wanted to make the greatest impact of the album, where would you say they might want to start if they're not going to start at the beginning?
At 1847, I would say that track, Transmutation, has a few sections that I'm extremely proud of, that I think we nailed it. This is the best music I can write at this very moment. And I would say it's like the end part of that track, starting around, what would it be, like 15, 16 minutes into the track. I would say, to my ears, that is amazing. And I cannot understand that the whole world is not like getting off on that, and making me a millionaire and downloading 1 million copies. Yeah, but that's the part that I think, like, if I would play it to somebody, well, check this out, motherfucker. This is great.
Yeah.
Like when I'm super proud and confident and can stand behind it 100%. It's like it's a section on Transmutation when it goes from kind of slow tempo and it goes into a more fast speed somehow, changing tempo. That section is amazing, I think. The way everybody's playing, the way it's written, the way it's mixed, the way it comes across. Yeah.
Well, everybody put the needle down at that point.
Yeah.
You now know the golden moment on the album.
Yeah. I should give you like an exact minute and second, but I don't have it in my head. I'm sorry.
Or somewhere around 15. Jonas, you can always email the time to me, and I'll put it in the show notes below. Now, one of the things, you're based in Sweden, right? And
based in Austria. I'm from Sweden.
Oh, in Austria. Okay, you're in Austria.
Yep.
And you recently took a trip to LA to finish the work. And there were two things that I noticed in some of your postings. And for those who haven't followed, I'm not necessarily going to disclose it, but I want to get, number one, because of the fires, the impact that had on you, and then number two, why you went.
The reason I went was that I wanted to make the best progressive rock album ever made. And Chris Lodell, who is a friend of mine that I've known, he's a 5-time Grammy awarded engineer. He has 18 nominations. He did everything from Bruce Springsteen to Aerosmith to Harry Styles, if we talk contemporary, to everybody. He has so many gold albums, so you wouldn't believe it. It's amazing. I've never been in a room with more gold albums. It's like everywhere. So, you did that song. Oh, were you a part of that? Wow, really? Like that all the time. So he's amazing. So that was a chance for me because I've been friends with him for a few years, and he's a big Genesis fan. Comes to all the shows we're doing in America, and he even come to Europe every now and then. And I presented this. Hey Chris, I have those songs. It would be lovely to work with you. Yeah, send them over. And I send them over. Hey man, I love your stuff. Come over here and we mix it. Normally I could never afford a guy like that because he's just working with the major labels and the major artists. But he dig the music, and that's it. Sometimes it's that simple. You just write a good tune and you're safe. So he took me under his wings a little bit and helped me finish this. So that's the reason. Why? And then, unfortunately, flying in to LA that day, 7th of January, those fires started. They started like a few hours before. I flew in like 5:30 in the afternoon, and I could already see a fire, happening. Wow! And everybody on the flight saying, "What's that? Oh, wow, this fire!" It's normally in California, but we didn't understand that the fires will get to the magnitude it did. So I'm just landed like normally. Okay, there's fire in LA. Well, what else is new? Like that, you know. But as the week progressed, I understood this is a major tragedy for the people living here. I had a good friend who lost his whole house and his studio, you know, and CLA, Chris Lodell, he also had like many friends. His lawyer, his bookkeeper, his mentor, Bob Claremont, who did tons of albums, lost his house as well, and many others. So it was super weird to do something insignificant like making a record when people's life is falling apart outside. In the same time, you don't have any power to change that. You know, what should I do? Stop doing my record and just get a bucket of water and try? It's just pointless. You know? So, on the other hand, you have to just continue what you're doing. Continue with your life, I guess. And we said to each other, like, okay, we cannot do anything about those fires. We are kind of safe. I was 5 miles away, 3 to 5 miles away from the fire, and there was a big highway kind of blocking the fire to coming over to our neighborhood where the studio was. So what can we do? Yeah, we can do the best record ever made. You know, that's what we can do. All right. So yeah, it was a surreal experience actually, you know, but hey, it happens. You know, I was in New York City when the Twin Towers fell. So yeah, I call myself master of disaster. I kind of show up. You know, I always show up where there's a major tragedy happening. I don't know. You know, I was in Mexico City, and they didn't. The volcano outside Mexico City never had an eruption until the day I came. You know, and I flew out from Mexico City, and I could see, you know, this volcano like maybe 20 miles away, but you know, spewing lava and all this shit, you know, like, okay.
Jonas, I think there's a song in there somewhere titled Disaster Follows Me.
I should write it because, you know, yeah, I was in America 2001 when you know, I passed the Twin Towers just a couple of hours before it happened. You know, it's so weird. You know, I've seen those things. Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first, people. If he ever produces a song called "Disaster Follows Me," it's because we got together to hang today.
Yeah.
The album comes out on the 7th of March. Will it be? Are there a lot of places it'll be available for purchase? Because it's important that people purchase it. Like, will it be on most of the Bandcamp, or will it be on iTunes, places they can purchase it?
It will be on all the digital platforms, of course, like iTunes, Spotify, and all that, where you can get hold of the album. But if you want to own it, I suggest, because digital streaming, as we all know, that doesn't make much revenue for the actual band or label, for that matter, at all. So I suggest people, if they want to support it, buy from the local record dealer. Like in America, I have a distribution, and I know that people like Ken Golden, he runs a company called Laser's Edge. He will have a stock of this album. You can always pre-order that. And if you want to support me directly, you can order it at www.jonasreingold.se and buy straight from my shop. You get it signed. You get it packed by me. You get it delivered. I will even go to the damn post office myself and make sure that you will get your copy. And yeah.
But you just don't want him showing up at your house with the copy, because there could be a disaster. But he will get it to you one way or another.
Yeah.
So, are you any plans to perform this album or some of this music out? I know you've got some other touring plans coming up in the spring, but do you have any plans to get out and really promote this?
In fact, I'm happy that you asked that, because normally I don't know, no plans, but I have some plans. We will perform 2 concerts at Cruise to the Edge with Karmakanic this first week of April, sailing out of Miami. So that will be the premiere of this album, I would say. I have a great band together. It's mainly the people playing on the album. It's Randy McStein, and it's Craig Blundell, and it's Lally Larsson on keyboard, and John Mitchell on vocals. So all is good. So that will be a first step, and I'm looking into possibilities to actually do a smaller tour and so on, if financials allow us, because touring is not a cheap thing anymore. Everybody wants money. Everybody, and the last people get paid is always the musicians. The bus company will always get the money. The hotels will always get the money. The catering people will always get the money. The rental companies will always get the money. The musicians are last in line.
Yeah. No, touring is definitely not what it used to be, and I know that we're seeing issues, a lot of issues here in the States, just because, as opposed to some countries in Europe that are much smaller than the States, getting a band from New York to LA is a really challenging financial endeavor. So that's why it's so important, especially to support your musicians, buy their merch, buy albums, buy the music, and show up to shows, because the next album can't just come for free. There's got to be some support behind it.
No, but I'm always trying to educate people like that. That it goes a lot of effort into making an album. Everything from just spending time writing the music, to record it, to have the top players, and everybody got to eat and pay the rent. And the best way they can do that is simply acknowledging that. I always have like when I do an album, I have like 200 slots in the booklet. Get your name on the CD, I call it. It's for those people who understands the value of music, that we need some extra money to do this. So they pay like $50 or something for a CD, which is super expensive, of course, but they get their name on it, and this true evidence that they support the thing we do, and we need that. And I'm so thankful that people still acknowledging that it is needed. This little bit of extra help,
Yeah, I mean, art just isn't free. It's something that people invest themselves in, and their time, which they never get back, is a true investment, and it's worth something of value, and we need to support. Whether it's music, whether it's a painter, a photographer, a filmmaker, art is something we need to be supporting better. Hey, you know what? We can't hang without discussing a great gig that you have. You have the honor of joining a rare breed of musicians who've had the chance to be part of Steve Hackett's band. Kind of curious, how did that come about? How'd you end up in the band? And then what has it meant to you to be part of that?
Starting from the start, Steve Hackett been, of course, in my universe for many years. The first time I met Steve, it was back in 2003, I think, even two. I had an album in the making called Wheel of Life. It was a Karmakanic album. And I wanted like a guest solo on one track. And I was thinking about Steve. I need this melodic, like typical Steve Hackett kind of guitar solo. So I approached him, making my way through the backstage and blah blah blah, hassling after the doorman. Oh man, blah blah blah, all that, and got into the backstage area where Steve sat. And I said, "Hey man, Steve, I appreciate your performance that you did and the history, what you stand for, and Genesis and all that. Big fan. Please listen to my album. I need that's what I did. That was the first time I met Steve. Nothing happened from that because he probably thought, who's that twat coming in backstage? I will throw the CD away. Anyway, but we kind of ran into each other year after year, festivals, playing the same things. The progressive rock community kind of small when it comes down to people who lives from it. It's not so many bands that are year after year out there and doing the same thing. So I got kind of to know him over the years, but not really close. But hey, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Jonas, yeah, like that, but I got to know the saxophone player Rob Townsend really well. Because we have a similar jazz interest, and he was so happy to find somebody that he could discuss Coltrane and Parker and this and that and mouthpieces and what to do and this and what to play over that chord and this standard from the American songbook. Like we share the same thing. We went to university, both of us, and so we talked a lot of music, and we started to become friends. And I heard some rumors that Nick Beggs, the former bass player for Steve, that he will play with Steven Wilson. So I knew that okay, the gig is kind of open. All right, I better go for it. And I texted Rob up and said like, hey, I heard that Steve is looking for a bass player. What's happening? I think Steve is talking to somebody there and this and that, and we have a guy in London, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but, please tell Steve that I'm super interested, that, I want to gig. Funny that you say that, because I will have a curry with Steve tonight. That's where luck came into the picture for me. You need luck as well, but you have to be ready when luck hits, So yeah, I will have a curry with Steve tonight, I will tell him. And luckily, Rob remembered that and told Steve that I have this bass player, blah, blah, blah. He's really interested. He's really good. Yeah, Jonas, yeah. He kind of knew me. So he called me the next day and offered me the gig. It was that simple. But it's not simple because it's so many years before that, running into the people on festivals, getting like this social thing going and get to know people. That's what it is, You can be the best bass player in the world. If you hide in your basement, nobody will see you. You got to know somebody.
Yeah. Well, and that takes to does luck happen or do you make luck happen? I mean, it's that story of those encounters and those connections that built and built and built.
I believe that the more you practice, the more good you become, the more happy, the more lucky you will get somehow, because you expose yourself to luck as well. If you're really good, because if you're really good or know your craft, and you run into luck, okay, this is a situation, boom. If you're ready, you can go for it.
Well, now you mentioned you and Rob connecting over jazz and the American Songbook and having those similarities and in that music. But for fans out there, you are fortunate enough to have a very big, we'll call it the Steve Hackett Songbook to choose from, between his solo work and his work with Genesis. When you're out on the road and you've played a number of the Genesis albums and all, from Genesis, the different styles that he's created around that, do you have one favorite song that you've been performing with Steve Hackett, whether it's one of his or a Genesis, that's absolutely kind of the one song that you love the most, or is the highlight of the set for you?
Yes, if I would pick out one song, it would probably be the Cinema Show from Selling England by the Pound. It's a Genesis track from 1974, three or four, 1973. Now, tons of people, don't you know your Genesis history? No, I think it's 1973, to be honest. I go for 1973. Yeah, I bet my dime on that. All right.
I'll double check you. I'll put it in the notes below because there's always going to be that one person who's going to say, "Wait a minute, no, you were off by a year," and they're going to stand their ground on it.
I believe it's 73 now. Thinking twice. Yeah, because 74. Yeah, it's definitely 73. 1973. Selling England by the Pound. The cinema show is a great track. It's so fun to play, and for me, the reason I think it's so fun to play, firstly, it's a great song. It has a good vocal verse starting point, like great, and how the song builds up. But on the original, there is no electric bass on this instrumental section. But we add electric bass, which means that I can more or less do whatever I want. I don't have Rutherford's bass lines to kind of deal with. So for me, it's personal because I play the way I think the bass. Because on the original, it's Taurus bass all the way. Because Rutherford played guitars. In the old days, they didn't have like thousands of tracks that we have today. So they had maybe 16 tracks to record everything. Okay, everything is filled, no room for electric bass. So we have the Taurus bass, guitar or bass, you choose. That was the options back in the day. So I can choose my own bass lines in the cinema show during the instrumental part, and I love that. This is like being in Genesis, because it's not composed or it's not decided. It's up to me now to play the bass. So I like that track a lot.
No, that's great. It's an excellent track, and I think that having an opportunity to put your own stamp on it like that is a very once or twice in a lifetime opportunity.
Yes,
to be able to do something like that. So I think that's great. You've played with you've had the fortunate to have been on many albums. You've got a great bench of musicians for your own work. But if there is one artist out there that you could have an opportunity to just spend a day being creative with, that you've not worked with before, who might that be, and why? Why would your reason be for wanting to be creative with them? And it could be someone who's passed, or it could be someone alive today. If they're alive today, maybe they're seeing this, and you never know, you get a call. I don't know, but
so Joni Mitchell, if you're seeing this podcast, this videocast, please give me a call because I would love to play with you. So she's my first choice for several reasons. She created like one of the milestones to me in the 70s when she did Hajera and Mingus, and also a live album called Shadows and Light from 1979. It included a cast of jazz players that I admire, like Jaco Pastorius, like Pat Metheny, Lyle Mays on keyboards, and Don Elias on percussion drums. And the combination of those jazz players and her songwriting and her lyrics, I think that is a match made in heaven. That was extremely important to my musical education. When I studied music, it made a huge impact on me, how to actually write a song, how to tell a story, how to use metaphors lyrically, and combine that with great musicianship by world-class musicians without taking away their expressions. I think she just nailed that somehow. And she written few of the lyrical lines ever written. I was driving across a burning desert when I spotted 6 jet planes leaving vapor trails across a bleak terrain. Now the greatness comes. It was the hexagram of the heavens. It was the strings of my guitar. Amelia. It was just a false alarm. Wow. To picture that, it was the hexagram of the heavens. It was the strings of my guitar. You can really see those 6 vapor trails like that on the sky and put it into a musical contest that resonates with the guitar. Yeah. Greatness there. That's greatness.
Yeah, I mean, when you can lyrically create theater of the mind,
yeah,
just take the lyrics and even take the music away, which adds context many times,
yeah,
and be able to paint a visual picture that someone can see in their head. That's the sign of an amazing lyric, and also that it's also something that I don't think, this is just my opinion, we get enough of these days. Having
because nowadays it's so fast, everything, TikTok, the attention span is like 10 seconds, the kids are boom, scrolling, now, not fun, not fun for 10 seconds, not fun, lyrics like that requires some reflections, and just to think about that, the sky and the hexagram of the heavens, and it was the strings of my guitar. Wow. Okay. Or, it's not fast. You need to be with that for a while. And we're missing that in society today somehow. It's too fast.
I agree with you. I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's why there's no AI used in your album.
Absolutely not. And I will not let that guy into my music or my creative thing. There's no space for that. I don't want him. I want people. I want people who has a story. I want to write about things that is real to me. AI, there's algorithms of the collective awareness, but it's not something that someone experienced themselves. It's just, it's blonde to me. No.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Yeah, I understand. Like I use ChatGPT from time to time when I say, okay, do a spell check, grammar check, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. You organize it nicely, put it in whatever. For that, it's amazing. But to create something that evokes emotions, no, I would never go there.
Yeah, it's an interesting time we're in because of what technology has brought to creativity. And I will say some people are finding creative ways to use it, and it's kind of what they're about. But then at the other end, there are people who are like, it's a tool, but it's not the human nature that I want to have in my creativity. So we're at this inflection point that I think is very fascinating when you think about it. Much more to come because of this technology and ways to be creative. But at the same time, are we going to lose something that is a staple of good creation?
But I think the million years or whatever, no, it's not a million years. It's like 150,000 years that mankind been on this planet in this current shape and form. Before we were like Homo erectus and stuff, clubbing people on their head with spike clubs. Something else.
I haven't seen that on TikTok, so I'm not sure it exists, but I'll take it.
No. But I don't know for sure. Somebody will probably correct me here. But I know that a few generations ago there was something called Homo erectus that was roaming the earth. But anyway, if we talk about Homo sapiens, ever since Homo sapiens kind of inherited this planet, it's all been about stories that somebody experienced, and they tell the story, and it's always been like that. And that's I think that's how humanity learn, by self experience stories. And if we get to hear the stories now from AI, that is just an algorithm of the collective awareness, but it's not a story. It's a story that they think is a story. I think we are in deep water if that will become our new way of learning, and because we learn from our mistakes and the good we do, and we pass it on. And if we have some artificial thing, awareness, whatever we call it, to guide us, I don't think it's good.
That's definitely more to come, and it's changing faster and faster than we could have ever imagined on a daily basis. So it's it almost feels like a hamster in a wheel kind of thing at this point.
Yes.
As we kind of turn the corner on our time together, what we do a lot of times here on the Hang, and when we're getting toward the end, we talk about like artists and bands that you're listening to, but you're in a very unique place amongst artists because you have your own record label and you have artists on your label. Tell us about your record label and some of the different types of artists that are on there, and a few of them that you would like to share with the world, because they're great, and B, they deserve to be listened to.
Yeah, I started a record label back in 2009 because the reason I started it, because there's so many talented players out there that will get a no from record labels all over. Like oh, it's not commercial and blah blah blah, will not appeal to the big mass, blah blah blah. You have no profile, you have no whatever reasons they say no, and so I decided to create Reingold Records for simply because it's music by the fans for the fans. I'm a fan of music, and I think some music will be needed to be presented somehow to the world. And with the muscles of me, which is quite small, but I can make a change by putting it out, putting it on the different digital platforms. So at least I gave the music a chance to be heard. And some people need help with that. And that was the reason I started a label, and also to have the freedom to, if I have something that is not commercially applicable to the world, I can put it out anyway, because I have a record label. So I released a few albums with a great piano player that I'm a big fan of. His name is Lalle Larsson. He played with Karmakanic for many years, and he still plays with me. He's on the last album as well. And I put out, I think it was 3 or 4 solo albums on Reingold Records. So that is probably my proudest moment, to put his music out, because I think it deserves recognition. Lalle Larsson, amazing music, amazing player.
Mm. Any others that come to mind that are on your label that have something new out that people should hear?
I'm very happy with the first album that actually came out on Reingold Records. Was a collaboration between me and Roine Stolt, the guitar player from Flower Kings and Transatlantic. We put out a fusion album, more like in the vein of Weather Report, channeling Joe Savino, Jaco Pastorius, those guys. I think it's an amazing album, and so I would highlight that if I could.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. I mean, one of the things we really love is just being able to share music with people because there's so much out there today.
Yes.
But what are people really listening to, right? Because if you believe what the Spotify charts are out there, you're never going to really hear the good stuff. You're gonna hear just what some people think is popular. So I think it's important to share. Jonas, this has been great. Everybody, Transmutation, March 7th, buy it. I'll repeat that. March 7th. Put your money aside so that you can buy Transmutation. That's number one. See Jonas. If you're on Cruise to the Edge, you'll get a chance to see some of that great music performed live. Hopefully he's able to fund a tour and bring it to a city near you somewhere in the world. Meanwhile, you do have some dates with Steve Hackett coming out. So if you've never seen Jonas perform before, go check him out. If you're lucky, he'll play you some really old Genesis. That's what you want to hear.
That's a big chance.
Big chance, if you're a gambler. But thanks, Jonas. Really appreciate this. All the best success with the album. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And please tell your friends, subscribe, share, and tell the world about Jonas's music. You're going to have a lot of information about him in the comment or in the description below, so we can get the word out for him. So, Jonas, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott.